This episode is brought to you by Kia's first 3-row all-electric SUV, the Kia EV9, with available all-wheel drive and seating for up to 7 adults, with a 0 to 60 speed that thrills you 1 minute, and available reclining lounge seats that unwind you the next. Visit kia.com/EV9 to learn more. Ask your Kia dealer for availability. No system, no matter how advanced, can compensate for all driver error and or driving conditions. Always drive safely.
I'm Mo Rocca, and I'm excited to announce Season 4 of my podcast, Mobituaries. I've got a whole new bunch of stories to share with you about the most fascinating people and things who are no longer with us. From famous figures who died on the very same day, to the things I wish would die, like buffets. All that and much more. Listen to Mobituaries with Mo Rocca wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Seed. Seed's DSO1 is a 2-in-1 probiotic and prebiotic designed for whole body health. Formulated with 24 clinically and scientifically studied strains, DSO1 offers benefits in and beyond the gut. See why DSO1 is the probiotic recommended by top doctors and nutritionists. Go to seed.com/Spotify for 25% off Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic.
Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I feel that some people need to get kicked off of their high horse. You know, there's a lot of people out there that, I guess, want too much from people, you know, and I feel that it puts a lot of us in a, mental state where we feel that we need to, go above and beyond for somebody. And I've reached to a point in time in my life where I'm like, I'm going to go above and beyond for somebody when I feel that I need to. But if it's on some stuff where it's like you're wanting me to impress you, no, that's not going to happen. Nah, man, because it's like, I truly do believe that there are people in this world. No, I know that there are people in this world that think like that. Because the whole reason why I'm even doing this episode in the first place is because I seen a video where somebody was carrying on like that. So let me go on the video real quick. So the woman says first date, or no. So yeah, so the video says goes out to say that it's the first date. She refused to get out of the car because he took her to the Cheesecake Factory. And I'm thinking to myself, like, fam, if where I'm taking you is the topic of discussion and not us, then I'm sorry, but no, I don't. That ain't no different. I think it was the movie Think Like a Man, where the girl, she was Megan Good. She was refusing to get in the car because the her date wouldn't open up the door for her, and she was like, a gentleman is supposed to open up the door. And I'm like, it's stuff like that where an individual is going to be petty. I just know what the relationship is going to be like, and I don't want no parts of that. No, I'm saying, because it's like, if my thing is this, if I'm in a situation like that, knowing me, I'm going to be petty with her. I'm going to figure out why is it so important because my thing is this, I'm going to ask her some questions. I'm like, does your right arm work? She says yes. Does your left arm work? She's going to say yes. I'm like, does that left leg work? She's going to say yes. I'm going to ask her if that right leg work. She's going to, I would like to assume that she's going to say yes. And I'm like, okay, think of something right now. Just think of a random number and blurt it out. But think of it first and then blurt it out. She's going to probably say something like 15. I'm like, okay, your brain works. Your upper limbs works. Your lower limbs works. I'm saying, I don't know what more questions I need to ask you, but you better open up that door and get in this car, because I'm not. See, the thing is that when I get hit with stuff, because I was taught that at a young age, when somebody calls me out for being a gentleman, I'm going to go in the complete opposite direction. No, that is seriously something that I would do. I remember growing up as a kid with my mom and sister, where I'll open up the door and they be all like, oh, ladies first, you're supposed to be a gentleman. And I'm like, oh, well, dang, tough. That's, I guess that's not in me, to be but my thing is this, I'm a gentleman when I don't need to be called out for being a gentleman. You know, because it just, to me, it just don't, I feel like it's kind of defeating the purpose of being a gentleman when the person, because I'm saying, if it's not that person's character to open up doors, because it's one thing, if I'm like, so like, let's say for an example, if I'm going out somewhere, right? And I see somebody behind me, or if I'm hanging out with somebody and they're behind me, I'm opening up the door. You know, I'm opening up the door first, and then if I see them behind me, then I'm like, I'm gonna hold the door. But I'm like, that's just me. That's just what I do. I don't know how many times where I've been out in places and I'm like, fam, I'm like, I allow people to walk in. Even though I'm like, if I'm on the bus, I'm like, I allow people to walk off first. If they tell me that, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go. But it's like, it ain't even about like a gentleman thing. I just think that it's about having a respect for a person. Because with me, it's like, I wouldn't want, if I'm like walking somewhere, right, and somebody just hauls off and cuts me off, then that's an issue. I don't do that to people because I don't want people to do that to me. So that's why I'm like, I'm respectful. If anything, it's not about being a gentleman. It's about being respectful to all people of all sorts. Because my thing is this, it ain't no different if I see a dude walking up and I'm like, oh, let me be respectful, hold the door open for him and stuff. If I'm like leaving out of a business and they walking in, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let me hold the door open. That's for everybody. Fam, even if it's a dog, I'm all like, if I see a dog walking into a building, I'm like, fam, I'm gonna hold the door open for the dog because I have respect. It ain't about being, and I think that whole like gentleman title, it needs to stop. It needs to stop because I'm like, no, people, they've run with that. When it gets put into their head that a man is supposed to be a gentleman, that ain't no different than a man, or an older man putting it in a younger man's head that his woman needs to like be a stay-at-home wife and cook, clean, and do all the other things. Come home, massage his feet, give him the TV remote, make him something to eat, give him a little. I'm like, fam, I don't want all of that. I don't want all that at all. I'm like, fam, am I like, my feet's ticklish? I don't want no stuff like that going on with me. I just want a normal life. I just want it where, if she comes on, the thing is this, I want the life where, that my parents, that they have, where it's like, we both go to work, we both do our things, we come back home, we're a family. That's it. I don't honestly see how that can be an issue. And I never seen no bending over backwards for one another. It's like, if anything, it's like, yeah, they were doing stuff for each other. It's like, dad takes us out on vacations. Mom, she does the same exact thing. So I'm saying, it's like, I feel like that's what that needs to be. Like, if you're trying to build like a family, if you're trying to build something, it's like, it can't be built off of one having a respect for a person. It's like, I'm like, fam, it ain't the 50s, but like an overly amount of respect, and then the other person can just be flat out disrespectful. I would instantly leave a relationship like that. Not having that. Not having that at all. And that's why I just think that there's people in this world that just, they want, because I'm saying it ain't no different. I know I feel like it might have came off as like that I'm mainly talking about women, but I'm like, men too. There's men out there where it's like, no, they be thinking like that, where it's all like, no, she's supposed to stay at home and cook and do all this and clean and all that. I'm like, fam, those are your drawers, you clean them. I'm like, that's not, bro. That's something where, and that's something that I sit down and I think of. Like, if for those, I don't know, because I feel like it's weird, but at the same time, I don't think it's wrong to do it. But I sit down and I think of a life that I could potentially have, and that's something that I would like. It's not that I would be mad at like whoever my significant other is, but no, like, if, let's say for an example, I meet some woman, and she's like overly, like good to me, where it's like, no, it is on some stuff where it's like, I come home from work, she's already has my food ready, she's giving me a massaging my feet and all that. I'm like, fam, I don't know who told you to do that for a man. And she was like, oh, that's how I was raised to do that. I'm like, no, please don't do that with me. I'm all like, let's do that for each other. You know, I'm like, here, sit next to me, make yourself comfortable. You know, it's like cause it's stuff like that where I'm all like, I don't want that. That's not me. That's not who I am. That's not how I was raised. That's not what I seen. You know, even if it's like some stuff that you see on TV, I don't want that. And it's funny because it's like when I think of a perfect example, and I know a lot of people are gonna be thinking like that movie out of all movies out there that exist, where it talks on that a little bit more. But the movie Coming to America, Eddie Murphy's character literally had the life. Like, he is one of the richest, wealthiest men walking the face of this earth, literally having people drop petals in rose petals in front of him, you know, having a whole like get together for a for his birthday party, having it where it's like, you know, as a gift he's getting a wife and things. I'm like, I seen that and I'm like, fam, as glorious as that seems, I don't want that. And I think there's a lot of men in this world that don't want that. And if there's a man in this world that wants that, that's the main person. And that goes for both sides, where it's like you're the woman expecting the man to do everything and you're the man expecting the woman to do everything. You're never going to find a good relationship. Ever. That's because to me, I'm all like, you're expecting somebody, because like, no, that's usually what happens. And that's usually what happens, or why when you see a man go out and say like, oh, women ain't this, or a woman goes out and say men ain't this, you know, because they've been in relationships where the individual expected them to do something, bend over backwards for them, and they wasn't having it. They wasn't having it at all. And then it's like, I don't know, like, because I know people gonna bother all like, oh, you know, TMossBoss is trying to shoot his shot. But no, seriously, on a real note, it's like, then I feel like, then it's like people like me, where we end up getting rejected, it's because of whoever else they was with. And I'm like, fam, I don't know what that, I guess they like to speak for that community, to speak for that side of the spectrum and stuff. You know, I don't know what overall happened to you, but it's like, I actually want good in a relationship. I actually want to hear out what you, because my thing is this, and I think a lot of people, they trip on stuff like that, where it's like, you, like, where I guess, like, where an individual talks on their ex, and I'm like, okay, if it's on, like, some, like, oh, my ex, he used to massage my feet, and I'm thinking to myself, like, alright, you know, I don't know what that overall has to do with me. But it's like, if that's something that I choose to do out of my own well-being, then okay. But it's like, that just makes the situation awkward, in my opinion. I'm all like, you know, if I'm like, you know, or yeah, even if it's on some like date stuff, and it's all like, oh, my ex used to open up the door for me, and she's like looking at me expecting me to open up the door for her, and it's like, that's gonna ruin the relationship. I'm like, okay, that's your second strike, and that's all. And then, okay, let's say I'm sitting down playing video games, right? She comes in the room talking about my ex didn't play video games. Third strike, you're out. I'm leaving, or she's leaving, whose ever house we're at. But I'm like, somebody gotta go. I'm like, cause I can't be around nobody like that. I'm like, no, that's going to, in my opinion, that ruins the relationship. Where I'm all, and so, but if it's on some stuff where it's like she's, you know, saying like, oh, my ex, he hated video games. And I'm like, really? Dang. I'm like, you know, what, like, did he ever say like, why? Like a conversation starter, you know, but it's like, if it's on some stuff where it's like, you're trying to get me to do something or to stop doing something, it's like that, yeah, that, like I said, that's just gonna make the relationship awkward. But yeah, if it's like but even if it's, yeah, if that's all that she has to talk about, then I'm all like, fam, I'm saying, it's like, if that's all she knows, then that's all she knows. But I think like a person, they have it in them to sit down and think like, oh, well, I feel like I talk on my ex a lot, let me talk on something else. And then that's usually how that goes. So yeah, that's why I'm all like, you know, but it's just, to me, even getting back to what I was saying though about like the, you know, significant other wanting to bend over backwards for me and things, because I felt like I said everything I needed to say on that subject. But no, overall, because actually, tell you the truth, I lost train of thought, and I was all like, I didn't know where, I knew what I was talking about, but I just didn't know where I had came from, so it's kind of a backwards thing. I'm telling you, man, I'm getting old, and I'm only 27, but anyways, but yeah, getting back to what I was saying, though, like, no, I wouldn't want no, significant other bending over backwards for me. I'd tell her straight up, I'm like, look, you ain't got to do that, and that's something where it's like, I thoroughly think it, where she's like, she's insisting, where she feels like because you'll hear stuff like that where it's like the man or woman feels like that they're not good enough, and I'm like, fam, trust me, you are more than enough. The fact that you even want to do something like that for me, it's something that I say not to do, but the fact that you're willing to do that, like, let's say for an example, all right, so yeah, let's say for an example, you know, a new video game comes out. And yeah, you know, let's say I'm like, I don't have Xbox Game Pass, but I want to play Forza Motorsports, right? Or let's say Xbox Game Pass don't exist. I just for my gamers out there, but yeah, doesn't exist. You have to go out, buy the game. Let's say, yeah, you still gotta go out and get the 1,600 points to get Xbox Live to play Forza. But regardless, though, but yeah, let's say I'm all like, oh yeah, you know, like me and her, we having a conversation. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's that one game, Forza comes out tomorrow. I'm like, I don't know, I might get it down the road or something. I come home, I look at the table, and I'm like, wait a minute, something green was on that table. I take a few steps back, I look, and it's Forza Motorsports, and I'm like, fam, no, that's something that I'm going to be grateful for. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to tell her, like, you do not need to do stuff like that. I'm not even mad about it, because you best believe I'm going to go in wherever, our room or my room, like, because, like, let's say if I have, like, if the house is big enough where I got, like, my own little gaming room, but I'm like, you best believe I'm turning my Xbox on, I'm installing the game, all right, I'm going to probably come back in here, give you a fat hug, all right, and let you know how greatly appreciated that you are. But trust me, on a serious note, you do not have to spend, I think Forza Motorsports costs like $70 because it's like the price of the new games now. You do not need to do that, okay, at all. But I'm like, you best believe I probably would just instantly just take off running and just sit there and be installing the game. And I'm like, okay, I gotta wait, run back in the room. I'm like, literally show her the most amount of love that she deserves. But I think that's why, you know, people, they do stuff like that because they think that that's how you gain love. And I'm like, I just want to let people know right now, the way that you gain love is by finding somebody that thinks just like you on stuff. Cause it's to me, it's like, it's messed up. Cause that was like another thing that I had saw where, this like, I don't know, was it, I'm trying to think, because I really don't want to, like, throw nobody under the bus. I don't know. I'm not going to go based off of that person. But there is at times, though, where you'll see and hear situations where somebody has, like, and, you know, and this is something that I've been through myself. At this point in time in my life, I'm just going to say that ship has sailed. Because I know people going to probably be all like, oh, so would you, you know, date the girl that rejected you or something? I'm like, no. Ship has sailed. She's doing her own thing, I assume. I'm gonna be in my life doing my own thing. But I do think that, you know, it should be a wake-up call, you know, for somebody out there where it's like, okay, you got this best friend, you hang out with them, you talk with them on a regular basis. It's like you're literally looking for love, and you got love right there in front of you. And it's like, and even if it's on a situation where it doesn't work, it's like, fam, at least give it a chance to see where it goes. Because that's one thing that I will say, talking on a older you know, situation, back when I was in high school, the girl that had rejected me for being black. But no, it was like, I remember from that time frame, and I don't know what she got going on now. I mean, if she is in a relationship, she is. If she isn't, she isn't. But no, like she had like went through some relationships and stuff, and I think that was, I don't know, I'm just going based off of from what I have heard, where she was engaged, and then the engagement ended up being called off, and I'm like, dang, you know, like, that's tough. You know, it seriously, it's tough. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, we were cool. You know, it was like, I really don't know what the issue was. And I'm like, and if the issue really was because because I'm black, I'm like, fam, I'm saying, it's like, not to sound rude, but at the same time, if you wondering why you got a bad relationship after a bad relationship after a bad relationship, I'm saying that's usually, you know, it's called karma, you know. So, but yeah, overall though, I just think that you know, I don't know. It's like, I'm just gonna call, because I was gonna like try to like say the title of this. You know how like in movies where they say the title at some point in time. Yeah, I'm just gonna call this like you know, a random relationship advice episode, because I didn't know where I was going with this. I was like, yeah, I was just pretty much just freestyling with this episode. But anyways, and that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for some more episodes. Make sure you follow or subscribe depending on how your podcast platform is set up, and make sure you follow me across all social media platforms. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.